At about 11 o'clock this morning, detectives from Homicide Bureau, after conducting a very thorough investigation that is not yet complete, they developed information that led to the arrest of Anthony Avalos' mother for his murder that occurred last week. Her name is Heather Barone. She's currently in custody here. She was arraigned this afternoon, or she's going to be arraigned this afternoon at the Antelope Valley Courthouse.
Lieutenant, can you describe for us the different roles of the mother and the boyfriend in the death of the young man?
We're not going to comment on any specific actions that were taken by either one of them at this point in the investigation. We're still very early into this. We can't have that information out there. We still have witnesses to interview, so to put that information out, any specifics like that would be premature.
Can you explain for us how you were able to arrest the boyfriend?
Can we wait for the siren a second?
It's a long question, don't worry.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll wait till after the siren. You went ahead and arrested Leva on Wednesday, but wait until today before arresting Barron.
We arrested Mr. Leva on Wednesday after speaking to him. And statements that he made led us to develop the probable cause we needed to connect him to the murder of Anthony Avalos. We needed to conduct further investigation to determine the actions by the mother, what she knew, when she knew it, what she could have done to potentially intervene or stop this murder. So she came in this morning for a scheduled interview of her with the information that we gleaned from other interviews that we conducted throughout the day yesterday, and including Mr. Leva's interview, which gave us what we felt we needed to present to the district attorney to get a filing of murder and torture and child abuse resulting in death against Miss Barone.
How many times was she interviewed, and what about this morning's interview led you ultimately to be able to make the arrest?
She was interviewed very early on by Special Victims Bureau detectives. She was again interviewed by Homicide Bureau investigators, and then a third time this morning before she was taken into custody.
Was her story consistent?
I'm not going to comment on that right now.
Lieutenant, was her role in this actually physical or more of turning a blind eye to what was going on by Mr. Leva?
At this point, we can't release any of that information. It's way too early. We still have a lot of people we need to talk to.
And could you talk a little bit about the difference in the consequences they face? According to the DA's computation, he faces 32 years, she faces 22 years. Can we infer from that the charges against her reflect not as great an involvement as he had?
From what I understand, the charges are exactly the same. He may have a longer exposure based on criminal history, but I'd be putting words in the mouth of the district attorney, so I don't know exactly why there's a difference. Is there any other questions?
Have you found out any more about the background of the boyfriend? The family continues to say that he's a documented gang member.
Well, we have no evidence that suggests he's an actual documented gang member. We are following up on some statements that he made. However, his involvement in any type of criminal street gang in this particular case would really have no bearing on anything. But it is something that we continue to follow up on. We know that there's information out there indicating that he's also an undocumented or here on expired visa. Again, that has no bearing on our case. It's something that we looked at later on. But for us, what our main priority is to get to the facts of what happened last week. Find out who was involved, how long it took, who witnessed it, and who ultimately is responsible for the death of Anthony Avalos. And at this point, we have determined that we have enough evidence and information in the form of statements and physical evidence to charge Heather and Mr. Leva for the murder of Anthony.
The mother had said her original story was that Anthony fell and hit his head. In these 3 interviews, and then the couple with the boyfriend, did they ever backtrack from that story? And were you able to determine what the blow to his head actually was?
Again, for the first part of your question, again, a lot of this investigation hinges on truth and lies. And so I can't go into what was said originally and how the story's changed, because that's key to our case right now. So that's stuff that will have to come out later on in the criminal proceedings. So as for what caused the injury to that ultimately led to Anthony's death, again, we're still waiting on a finalized coroner protocol or an autopsy report. So we need medical professional to tell us what it is. We do feel that he suffered a traumatic brain injury that resulted in a bleed that resulted in the failure of his organs. Now, how he got from having some type of injury to the brain bleeding is up for a medical professional to determine. So right now we're just waiting on the coroner's office, and that could take weeks.
But you believe he was struck by some sort of object?
We believe that from the information that we have, specific actions that were taken, perpetrated by Mr. Leyva and or Heather Barron, that an actual act occurred that resulted in that injury that resulted in his death. And that's about the best way I can frame it for you right now without revealing information that we need to hold tight to.
Lieutenant, can you talk about this wound that Leyva inflicted on himself and how long that may delay his being brought to court?
Well, when he showed up for his interview, he was wearing clothing that concealed his neck. During the course of the interview, when investigators asked, they realized that he had some type of injury. When they delved further into it, he untied the garment that was around his neck that revealed that he had what appeared to be a self-inflicted laceration to his neck. And based on statements that he made, we believe that he had done it the night before and concealed it throughout the day and throughout our meeting. But once we became aware of the injury, we needed immediate medical intervention.
Is it your understanding that's why he's not being arraigned today?
Yes, he has to be approved by LCMC jail medical staff before he can be deemed fit to travel to court. So that hasn't happened. So he was a medical miss out for court today. And until a doctor approves him, his healing process, and that he's medically sound to make the bus ride to Antelope Valley Courthouse, he will not be arraigned. So we're looking at possibly Monday, maybe Tuesday for his arraignment.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.